Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Mikey again. Happy Saturday to everybody. I didn't really go too bad this week with the rants, so I'm just gonna get on here and do a little preview video. Uh, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing videos. I think I'm gonna go to the podcast route. Seems easier, and you don't have to see all this, and I don't have to set this up. I don't have office space. I don't know yet, but I do have a Parler page. So if anybody's on Parler, which uncensored internet site, it's called the Zero Hour. That's what I'm going to call the podcast. Zero Hour basically means I have zero guilt. I offer zero apologies for anything I say or believe, and I give 0.0% fucks about what you think. About what I think. I mean, I like to hear other opinions, but I'm not going to change my opinion if I truly believe it's right. I mean, that's kind of an insane thing to do. So, anyway, I'm trying to get used to this recording thing with the video. Some days I like it, some days I don't. Usually I'm drinking when I do videos. Today, it's pretty early on, so it's like noon, so I'm not gonna be drinking until I go to the little Great Miami later. Then I'll drink something. Today it's just spitting and gotta try to do a video just to get some pent-up aggression out about things without blowing up news feed and getting a bunch of soy latte drinking bitches that want to condemn me for having a different thought than theirs and try to explain, man, they try to explain every reason why they're right and I'm wrong. And they only look at half the facts. So I can't type that fast. So I can't respond to those fucking idiots that fast. So here is my alternative, is to do this. They want to leave comments on it if they look at this video, and they want to leave all the nasty comments they want. I don't care. I really don't care. Like I said, I give zero fucks what you think. If they want to leave that I'm this and that and this and tell me how the main one is really that triggers me, that has been triggering me, is the Breonna Taylor statements. They bring it up. I mean, I was talking about the 5-year-old kid that got killed. I don't know. A lot of you know that I had the big blow up with that last week. So my thing with that was, it was a 5-year-old kid. Didn't matter what color he was. I didn't say, get this black guy for killing this 5-year-old kid. I didn't say nothing about it. I said a 5-year-old kid was killed execution style. And it was the media coverage that bothered me. It was no media coverage for that. But if it was a police officer who would have done that, oh, by Lord, you would have had a million people jumping on that train and just protesting and wanting to burn the shit down and everything else. It drives me crazy that just because it was a singular incident, that it didn't get any media coverage. Everybody said, well, what'd you want, 24/7 coverage? Maybe partial coverage of what a guy like, George Floyd got, or Rashard Taylor, or whatever, Rashard Brooks, I'm sorry, I don't want to get his name wrong. Rashard Brooks got when it initially came out with the Wendy's drive-thru incident, in Atlanta. So I didn't even know about this thing. It was 3 days old till my friend Don told me, hey, did you hear about this 5-year-old kid? No, I didn't. So I looked it up and seen that and was instantly floored that I hadn't heard anything about it. It was 2 or 3 days after the fact. And it was like, I didn't hear about this. This is some sadistic stuff. It's almost like the child, pedophilia we got going on in the country that people want to ignore, and they want to call me, oh, you're a QAnon nut. You're a conspiracy theorist. There is no such thing as an elite pedophile ring. I call bullshit on that. There's too many. I mean, look at the celebrities that came out. Mel Gibson came out 10 years ago. Said this stuff happens all the time. Corey Feldman come out. Corey Haim, before he died, came out. Macaulay Culkin's now coming out. Elijah Wood came out. and told everybody that this stuff exists. This stuff happens in Hollywood. And it was just because it's Hollywood. Everybody loves their Hollywood. Christ, I love Tom Hanks, man. Tom Hanks was one of my favorite actors of all time. And to know that it's not been proven on him yet, but he's on the flight log or whatever, I don't care. I don't put too much stock in the flight log until I get some proof. The one thing that irritates me about QAnon and all the other conspiracy theories, I like QAnon. I think they're good for sharing information. But here we sit on our ass, we don't do anything. If we know there's a child pedophilia ring, and we see that all these thousands of kids a day are missing, and they supposedly know of all these tunnels in New York, and the tunnels going from Epstein Island, and all the stuff that they know is true, and they say, oh, it's a fact, it's going to come out. The storm's coming. The storm should have done been. Why let another child go missing? Why let one more kid be abused? If you know something, and even if it's half-assed, if you know part of it, it's like a drug bust. You're not busting the cartel, but you're getting the one small piece off the damn planet, right? So if you know that it's happening somewhere, in some way, and we're sitting here doing nothing about it, I mean, if you know these people are Luciferian, drinking blood, or whatever in Hollywood, that it's all been claimed and over, Ellen and Oprah and all these people, supposedly they're, under house arrest and all this. Come on, man. Just go get the sons of bitches. I mean, if we know they exist and we know we got kids missing every day, by God, if my kid was missing and it was a day later that they decided to pull the storm out and my kid was missing before that, by God, I would be irate more than anything in the world. And we act like it's, it can't be true. So, well, we got celebrities saying it's true. I watched a movie called Out of Shadows. Sorry, I'm chewing, and it was a body, a stunt double, a stunt guy. But he was in the inner workings of the Hollywood. He pretty much said, you see it. It's blatant. They don't care. They have no fear of what we're going to do to them. They have no fear whatsoever. Tom Hanks moving to Greece. Is it a coincidence? Everybody says, oh yeah, her family's from over there, and it just so happens that Greece is a non-extraditing country for child pedophilia, and they consider it, or at least did. I don't know if they still do, but considered it a mental condition, not so much a crime in their minds and stuff. Was it a coincidence that he moved to Greece amidst all this stuff? A lot of people say yeah. I say fuck no. I loved Tom Hanks in the movies. I did. Now I can't stand the son of a bitch just because he's making himself look bad. He's not. All these celebrities come out with the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm for Black lives. Don't get me wrong. I think the stuff that happens to blacks because they're black is bullshit. It's ridiculous. The movement itself, which is a bunch of middle-aged or mid-20-year-old white people, and then you see the black people that are against it. I've never seen so many black people get something that's supposed to be for them, because it's not benefiting the actual black lives. It's benefiting an agenda. Call me conspiracist, whatever you want. It's the left getting their way, because every other thing they've tried since 2015, 16 hasn't worked. When Trump shocked the world and beat good old Hillary, they never thought it would happen. They were so confident that Donald Trump was a joke running. Nobody would vote for a guy like Donald Trump, an egotistical, very misogynistic, asshole to most people. And to me, I mean, as a person, I don't know Donald Trump, but when he was on The Apprentice and all that stuff back in the old days, I thought, what an arrogant windbag. The only thing I like I voted for Ted Cruz in the primary. I didn't even vote for Trump. When Trump got the nomination, I voted for him because there ain't no way I was going to vote for Hillary. And I thought that if Trump can do half of what he says he's going to do, we'll be better off. Well, all these years later, he did a majority of what he said he was going to do. My life was pretty good until the shitstorm of 2020 hit. You know, I know I'm going to be rambling on different subjects, and when I do a podcast, I'm going to try to keep it to one thing, but today is just like a trial run for me, so I'm just going to let it fly everywhere. I'm going to bounce from subject to subject. So, to me, the upcoming election between Trump and Biden, or whoever they throw in at the last minute, you know, the Democrats, is the most important election that I'll ever see in my lifetime, or I have seen so far, and that most people will ever see in their lifetime. I mean, it's that important that I don't understand. I mean, maybe a Democrat can sit down one day with me and explain to me how you put the blinders on so much that you're a Democrat and you can stay to the left. I don't get it. And maybe I wasn't raised in a political family. I was not a political person. In the past, I voted for whoever I thought was going to do the best. I actually voted for Bill Clinton back in the 90s. I thought he would do the best job. You know, I voted for W. Bush, which, you know, in the end, I figured out he was a moron, but, you know, I thought he was the best choice. Now, I didn't vote for Obama the first time, and I'll be honest, I didn't vote the second time at all. I was just discouraged with what the Republicans put out there. The party I was following at the time was kind of more the Constitution Party. Their candidate, I voted for him before against Obama, but you know, it was just frustrating. I didn't vote in 2012 or whatever. So when 2016 rolls around and I see the choice for the Democrats is Hillary Clinton, and, you know, I got involved in politics about that point real hard. I watched a lot of the debates from the Republican side and the Democratic side that year. I was a Ted Cruz fan, big time. I thought Trump was exactly how a lot of people view him, as an asshole, an arrogant idiot. And, you know, and he had to prove me wrong, and he did. He's still not... I'm not going to bullshit you and say I think he's a great person and he cares so much. He cares about the American people. He might come across as an asshole, and he probably is an asshole. You know, you've been rich most of your life. I get it. But to me, the proof is in the pudding, you know, and it's like, my life was pretty good. I mean, my taxes were lower. The economy was great. You know, he wasn't putting up with bullshit from other countries. He was getting better deals, which was his whole running point. I can do better deals. I can do better trade deals. He smacked China in the mouth when all the other presidents before him were scared to death to do anything to China. You know, but then, of course, you got started when the Democrats lost that to Trump. You had to, you know, all of a sudden the election was rigged. The Russians were involved. Okay. Not, you know, nothing, went nowhere. Then they impeach him. Okay, the collusion with Russia failed. Let's impeach this son of a bitch. And, you know, we'll go this route. Try the impeachment trials. That lasted forever, you know, and the reports come back. There was no collusion with Russia. There's no multiple reports, the Mueller report, you know, all that good stuff. Came back with nothing. You know, and then recently we found out a lot that, you know, they were spying on his campaign. You know, that's kind of getting swept under the rug. Nobody's really caring about Obamagate. It's just like Pizzagate. Oh, you conspiracy theorists. You guys to the right, you know, you're blah, blah, blah. And the people on the right, you know, we say the same thing about the people on the left. But if you're a right-winger like me, you know, our story is a hell of a lot more believable than what the left is. The left is full of shit. Just my opinion. Like I said, I'm not a scholar. I'm not a lifelong politician. I don't get into every little thing that comes out in every report. I read the basics of it. I make my own decisions and opinions, and that's it. So anyway, then we get into 2020. You got good old Wu flu. Wuhan coronavirus. Yeah, I was scared to death. I swear to God, when it came out, I was like, oh my. I stayed bunkered down in the house for the first 3 weeks. Scared to go out. I didn't go out. You know, Casey went out to go to the store or whatever. I ain't going out there. Not with some, strange virus that's going to kill me. I'm going to stay put, and I really didn't want her to go out. It's like, other than get food and, try to find toilet paper. And the world had gone mad at that point for coronavirus. About Easter hit, and I know Trump had put that as his original date, and he was off on that. And I'll admit that it was probably a little more contagious and a little more involved than what we thought originally, or he thought. I mean, according to everybody else, 2 million people were going to die. That ain't even a remote possibility. It's not even happening. Globally, you haven't had 2 million people. You haven't had 1 million people, which I'm not sliding 175,000 American people. I'm not sliding. What I'm sliding on that is that it's not as insanely deadly contagious because 1% of the population's had it. And, out of that, I don't know how many, 3% or something, of the 1% of so if you take the world's population, we're at like 0.04% death toll. I can't see going into a massive lockdown for months and months over 0.04%. Pneumonia kills that. I think if they look up the actual COVID deaths, not, falling down a foot of stairs, 10 flights of stairs or whatever, and you break your neck, and then they take you for the autopsy, you're tested for COVID and you're positive, and they call it a COVID death. I'm not talking about that ridiculous shit. I'm talking about the actual people that had nothing else wrong with them, and they got COVID, and it killed them. I think the number would be a lot lower. I think it would probably be flu numbers. I mean, sorry, I call it the Wu flu for a reason. I believe that they wanted it to be worse. The people that, and I'm not one of these guys that think it just happened. I think it was manufactured in the lab in Wuhan. Conspiracy theory me, yeah, okay. But that's what I believe in. And I believe that, that it was supposed to be this monumental thing that kept us all locked up. And the election would be mail-in and manipulated and everything, win at all cost mentality of the left, okay? Well, it started to appear to most people, including me, after a few weeks that, okay, this is not Ebola. I mean, when you get Ebola, the thing about Ebola, when you got Ebola, you're dying, There's not, the survival rate on Ebola was not very good. If it was, it was definitely not good. It's probably the reverse of what your survival rate is with coronavirus. Anyway, so that started to die out. And then we had the unfortunate, the police on video, George Floyd, senseless. It was. The guy, even after the body cam footage came out, it's like, okay, so he tussled with him for 20 minutes, and he was out of his mind on meth and fentanyl and all this stuff. To watch that graphic of a guy, even if that's how they're taught in the academy, I don't know. I'm not a police officer. And did the police officer use excessive force? I guess, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. It was a tough one to me to take. It was like, it could go either way. And I wasn't happy about it when it happened. Even after the fact, all this other stuff comes out, it wasn't, I still wasn't happy about it. But I sure as hell ain't going to lump all the police officers into one category over a one-time thing in Minneapolis. I mean, any police officer killing anybody is not good when you're unarmed. And this happened. It happened, to a black man 9 times in 2019. And 19 whites had the same fate. So, and Asians and Hispanics, it's happened to everybody. And, there's good cops and bad cops. And there's cops that mean well and they end up doing a bad thing in the height of the heat of the exchange or whatever. But I'm not going to lump police officers into one category because of one incident like that. Just like I don't lump black people into a category because this one guy was high on fentanyl and passing counterfeit money. And so every time I walk down the street, I don't say, well, I bet he's counterfeiting money or he's high on fentanyl. I mean, it's just... Anyway, it blew up out of nowhere. It was videotaped and it was bad. It was all bad. And I think, Black Lives Matter people were upset. And they had a right to be upset. I see that. But the way they've handled it since is, you can tell it's political. I'm sorry. And it's like, you can argue with me all day that it's not political. And I'm never gonna back down from my claims that it is political. Because everything that's happened since has just been nuts. Antifa and Black Lives Matter and stuff, these riots and, protesting and riots, and it seems funny to me every time we have a riot or a protest or, things get out of control. You got shitholes like Portland and Seattle and Minneapolis started, the whole thing, and then California's a disaster, and you got New York City falling apart, and Beetlejuice running Chicago farther into the ground than that place already was, according to most. I don't know. I've never been to Chicago. Don't have no desire to go to Chicago. But, I mean, it went way out of whack. You could call it way to the left, but I'm not even going to name that. I just say it went fucking crazy. It went crazy with this stuff. The Rayshard Brooks come out, and it was a big thing for a few days, and then they seen the video of it, and said, oh, well, maybe. Yeah, I guess a guy that beats 2 cops up, grabs their taser, shoots them with it, and gets shot during that, maybe that's justifiable. Then you get to, Breonna Taylor. Okay, I feel bad for Breonna Taylor and her family. I mean, she's dead, I'm sorry, but her family and the people that loved her, hey, I get it, man. That's a senseless murder. If you call it a murder, I mean, a lot of people call it a murder. I call it an accident, but I'll get berated for that because it's, it wouldn't be an accident if it was a white person. And it was like, well, yeah, they made a mistake, and it was an act. They shot. If the guy wouldn't have shot at the police, would she have been alive today? More than likely, yeah. I can't predict what would have happened, but that was an unfortunate wrong number. It was like, but why did the guy shoot at the cops? I don't get it, but anyway, but they always conveniently leave out Duncan Lemp. Okay, Duncan Lemp from Potomac, Maryland, I believe it was. He got shot through his window of his house at 4:30 in the morning because he was suspected to have this arsenal of guns, and he probably did. A lot of people were gun enthusiasts. I don't know that he wasn't under investigation for anything else. I just, the news articles I've read about him, it was gun related. 4:30 in the morning, shot through his window, killed. Pretty innocent. I mean, he wasn't doing any crime at the time, for sure. Didn't fire on police. Didn't have a chance to. Nobody mentions Duncan Lemp, and that happened in March, I believe, early March of this year. And they wonder why people like me get pissy about that. And they said, well, that's not even the same thing. It's like the Cannon Hennett thing. One of the memes I shared one time comparing, George Floyd got this. It was about media coverage for me. It wasn't comparing the cases. It was comparing the media coverage that it got. And I got berated for that, saying it's apples and oranges. You can't compare the two. Because one was a police officer who's being upheld to protect you, and the other one was just a random thug guy. Okay, I get it, but where the media only focuses when it's a police killing? I mean, to eat dinner with the family the night before, and then to see him riding his bike in front of his sisters and his dad. You take a gun, you walk out to this kid and take it to the back of his head and blow his brains out. That gets no media coverage because it wasn't videoed, I guess. Wasn't interesting enough because it didn't have a video attached to it. And then the CNN, my favorite fucking news network of all time, they put out an article on it 3-4 days after the fact when they got a little pressure of people saying, where was this at? Where was this at? They tell the story of this guy getting killed by a 25-year-old man, which is fine. I don't think you need to signify that it was a black man that killed him. It doesn't make any difference. Could have been a purple guy that killed him. It still would have been bullshit. It would have still been upsetting to know that can happen execution style to a kid riding a bike in America. That's the point. It wasn't that it was a black man shooting a white kid. It wasn't. That got spun later by the people that wanted to try to divide it. And it could have been some of the people on the right saying, look, here it goes. It's a black guy killed a white kid. Why ain't we getting... I care less about that. I could care less what color the shooter was. And what color the kid was. If it was a black kid and a black man, I would have still been pissed. That it got no media coverage whatsoever. That it happens in America. Now, some of the other people I know are more pissed off that it was a black man that shot a white kid. That's their choice to have that opinion. It's not mine. I just wanted to know why one death was more important than another. And, it got compared to George Floyd, and then it was like, oh, you can't compare the two. Why not? One's not a cop, one is. One's a black man, one's a white kid. I mean, it wasn't about any of that. It was about why wasn't this covered on the media? And I'm not saying every single death of a young child is going to be blown up 24/7. It was the manner of the murder. It's kind of like the George Floyd. Where it got compared with George Floyd was the knee on the neck, the asking for his mom, the horrific ending, the way it ended. The guy couldn't breathe and was yelling for mom and all that stuff. It's like it was bad to watch. It was not good to watch. Still bothersome, and I expect people to be mad about it. But why am I not allowed to be mad about a 5-year-old kid? Like I said, the headline said 5-year-old murdered by a 25-year-old man on CNN, which is fine. It doesn't have to say a 5-year-old white kid was killed by a 25-year-old black man, because that's what causes the bullshit. We don't need it. The fact that a 5-year-old kid got shot execution style is all we need to know. That it's bad. It's bullshit. And whoever this guy is needs to go get taken down and enjoy the same fate. In my mind, put a bullet in the back of his head and watch his brains go all over the wall. That's the one thing about the Middle East. Eye for an eye. Yeah, why not? They do it here. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with the dad of the kid getting to walk up behind this guy standing there and just blow his fucking brains out. Wouldn't bother me in the slightest. It'd be well done, government. Well done. Thank you. But CNN runs this story about this, and they say the 25-year-old man that shot a 5-year-old boy, which is great. It's bipartisan that way. It's not white and black like everything else seems to be. But they showed a picture of the kid's dad. And the picture was of his kid's dad, so it's like they were trying to not going out of their way to say we're not going to show a picture of the guy that did it and show that he's a black man, because that might, cause a stir with the white community. And it did. We knew as soon as they showed the mugshot of the guy, a lot of us, my first instinct was, oh, there we go. But then I thought about it. I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was a 5-year-old kid got shot and killed for riding his bike. Doesn't give a shit what color the shooter was. It don't matter. It doesn't matter what color the kid that got shot was. It was the horrific way it happened. But nobody wants to believe that. QAnon, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a racist, Come on, man. If anybody knows me, and you can look me in the eye and say, Mike, I truly believe 100% that you are downright white supremacist racist, then you have no idea who I am. Because I'm not a racist. It cracks me up because I grew up and my family's from the deep south of Kentucky, where racism would be easy, But I grew up from a very young age. My mom, especially, I lived with my mom from the time I was 8 on, But I had plenty of, I had black friends, and it wasn't a big deal back in the 70s and early 80s, It was like, there wasn't this there was always racism, don't get me wrong, there's always people that just were racist for whatever reason. They were born into it, or they had an incident that happened to them that made them turn that way. I mean, there was a lot as a kid, I didn't give two shits. I had a buddy, like 3rd grade, I had a buddy named Anthony Freeling, and he was, lived downtown in the valley, what I call it. Not a good area. His mom had no money. She's single parent. And, I didn't notice anything. And now I look back on it, I know it. But at the time, I didn't care. He was just my buddy. And we ran around, did all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm not one of these guys that say, I got black friends, I can't be racist. No, that's bullshit. Because you're either friends with somebody or you're not. It doesn't matter what color they are. And to me, to say I have black friends, try to make it sound like I'm not. I've had black friends, I can't be racist. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying I've had a lot of friends that are different than me. They're not. I'm not. I don't even have to go to. I had black friends. I've had friends that are not the same as me. That's as far as I can go with it, and that's all it should have. And I'm not going to sit here and defend. People think I'm racist. They're going to think I'm racist. I give two shits. I fly a Confederate flag. Yes, I do. When I grew up, the Confederate flag to me was the South. It was the South. It meant, for me, my interpretation of the flag was the Southern pride. And people say, well, now, that's a battle flag, blah, blah. All I know is the 13 stars, they represent the 13 Confederate states, right? And the red represents the blood that was shed in the Civil War, trying to defend Dixie, okay? The blue is the tears that people cried for the ones that didn't make it home. And the white is that they never surrendered, okay? That's what people tell me it means now. And I'm okay with it, But they also say, the KKK used it, and the kid in Charlottesville, South Carolina, I think it's South or North Carolina, when he shot up the church, killed 9 people, black church. He waved it around. He had it on his Facebook page. So you're telling me that one object can mean only one thing. It can't mean nothing to nobody else. Because, like I said, when I grew up, that meant the South to me. It was Southern pride. Every time I was in Kentucky, you seen them flying everywhere. I don't think the whole state of Kentucky is a racist. So they have to have flying for other reasons. And it also, be honest, Dukes of Hazzard, I remember watching Dukes of Hazzard as a kid. I remember General Lee with the Confederate flag on it. I remember Leonard Skinner had it. The University of Mississippi had it as a that one of their team flags or whatever. And that's what it meant to me. It never meant hate at all. It's like, to think that's a symbol of hate to me is ignorant. And I know other people are going to say, well, you're ignorant because it is a symbol of hate. And that's your opinion. But for you to tell me I can't fly a flag that I feel a certain way about, that's not going to happen. Not in America unless Trump loses in November and we all turn into socialists and communists. My freedom of speech is still intact. Just like my First Amendment's there, my Second Amendment's there. And, I've never I hadn't shot a gun in my life till a year ago. And now I'm thinking about going out and buying some because it's like, people are fucking nuts out here. I mean, I fly a flag, I had people on my Facebook, actually, she said to me, a girl I didn't know, because I had a post that got shared, and I didn't know this girl from Adam. She lives in Illinois or some shit, And I was making my statement about Cannon at the time. And I didn't even make a statement. I just said, where's the mainstream media on this? And I posted, 3 or 4 pictures of Cannon, said justice for Cannon. That ended up being a big thing, the word justice, because, they call it his killer. And Breonna Taylor's is still out there. And, come on. I mean, justice for Cannon. I mean, it meant that we want justice for him as far as the killer is going to go to jail for the rest of his life. He's going to get the death sentence or whatever. It was basically it was probably a knee-jerk reaction by some that said, we need to get justice for this kid. Not thinking about the killer being caught. And it's like, come on, you guys are reading way too much into this shit. So anyway, I had that posted about Cannon. And this girl from Illinois that I don't know must have got a post somewhere. A black girl, didn't matter. But, I mean, she had a white husband, according to her profile picture, whatever. Good on you. I don't care. I don't care what color it was. But she said, oh, and you literally wave a Confederate flag, so shut up. Well, number one, like I said, the freedom of speech. My Facebook page, even though Facebook's becoming a piece of shit, and I'll probably end up starting to put everything on Parler. That's where I'm going to have hopefully have my podcast set up, and I'm going to use Parler a lot more. Just because YouTube censors a lot of shit too, and Facebook's all about fact-checking, censoring, and, Zuckerberg, I think he's a whack job or whatever. But anyway, back to the flag. So she tells me because I wear wave a Confederate flag that I should shut up. I don't know nothing about this kid's death. Blah, blah, blah. So my response to that was, yeah, I proudly wave the flag of the Confederate flag because I'm proud of my family. My mom and dad were both born and raised in Kentucky, the deep Kentucky South, okay? As I gotten older, wanted to know more about where I came from. And my pride in the South was a thing that developed later in my life. And it's like, the Confederate flag to me, it still means the same thing it did when I was a kid. It just means Southern pride. It means Dukes of Hazzard. It means Leonard Skinner, man. It doesn't mean I'm anti-black, anti-Asian, white supremacist, racist bastard. It means I have pride in my family's heritage, which happens to be from the South. So if you don't like me waving the Confederate flag, then go fuck yourself. I don't care. I'm tired of putting up with this bullshit. I mean, it's getting to the point, 2020, from the start with the Trump stuff still going on, and then it got into coronavirus, then it got into this Black Lives Matter. Now it's, the Black Lives Matter protests and riots are starting to slow down because people are waking the fuck up. And then you get Biden, Sleepy Joe, Pedo Joe, whatever you want to call him, and Kamala Harris, who a year ago believed everybody that said they had accusations of sexual misconduct against him. Now they're buddies. It's a political thing. I get that. Politicians are politicians, and they're going to do what they do. But so 2020 has been all the way leading up to this, with the coronavirus and George Floyd and the riots and Breonna Taylor and the riots and the failed little anarchy thing out in fucking Seattle, whatever the hell that was, Chop, whatever the hell it's called. That was a preview of socialism. Failed miserably. I don't want to be a socialist. I sure as hell don't want to be a communist. I liked America the way it was. But, because you're so pissed off that Trump won, and these people say, well, he's just ruining the country. How the fuck is he ruining the country? I mean, that cracks me up. I pay less taxes. I make decent money. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not close to a millionaire. I'm middle class, but my taxes went down. The economy was really good. We're bitch slapping the other country saying, you're going to start paying us. We're not giving out protection for free anymore. This is over. Donald Trump's the ultimate deal maker. That's what he does. He never claimed to be a politician. He never claimed this. He said, I can make good deals. I want to help the American people, and yada, yada, and build the wall. He's been building the wall. I mean, illegal immigration is horse shit. If you want to do it, come here, do it legally. I got no problem with every ethnicity, whatever, how you pronounce it, in the world. You can come from Turkey, you can come from Somalia. I don't give a shit where you come from. Do it legally. When you're coming here illegally and you're getting more rights and more stuff than I know people that worked all their life and they have hit a hard patch and they can't get welfare because they make $10 too much at their 20-hour-a-week job trying to survive. But a guy that comes across the border can go and get food stamps and, free everything and get to vote in this country, and is what the Democrats want. They want all the illegals to be able to vote. Yeah, just let everybody vote. Well, of course you want that, because you're going to promise them everything, just like you do every 4 years. And then the day after the election, all those people that you cowered to and say, hey, we're standing behind you. We're standing with you. We're standing behind. That goes away. And this, and then you get on this systemic racism. How? We just had a black president for 8 years. We got a congresswoman in Minnesota, whatever, that Somalian, Omar. We got a Hispanic bartender in Congress. How is this not the land of opportunity? How in the world is there systemic racism? There's racism, don't get me wrong. There's just white people that don't like black people. There's black people that can't stand a white person. There's some that hate the Asians. There's some that hate the Jews. There's always somebody that hates somebody. There's feminists that hate misogynists. There's misogynists that hate the feminists. It's been a civil war forever. And the only thing that's scarier than that is the knowing that civil war that could come in November, and probably will. Even if Trump wins, we're going to get more of the same that we've had. They're not going to want to concede. They're going to say he cheated, rigged the election. And then if Trump loses, in my mind, we're going to know they rigged the election. I mean, maybe it's just where I live, but I see Trump everywhere. Trump everything. Biden, no, once or twice. But I mean, I'm in conservative Ohio. It's not like New York City or L.A. where it's all blue out there. It's blue everywhere. For some reason, I don't know. I mean, how the mayor of New York or the governor of New York, both of them, mayor and the governor of New York, can come on TV and will tell you with a straight face to the residents of New York that there's less people in jail right now and we're safer for it. When you're having record-setting crime sprees and shootings every weekend in your city, just like Chicago, the gun-free zone. And now DeWine here in Ohio wants us to start clamping down on guns. But dude, you were such a Democrat, it's unbelievable. You're as far left a so-called Republican as I've ever seen. And you've pretty much, or Kasich Jr. Kasich, as you know, spoke at the Democratic convention, backtracking. He's so pissed off that Trump bitch slapped him and back in the day. He can't get over it. They're like butthurt over everything. DeWine, he's out for himself. Him and Fran and, all the grandkids, of course, he goes to the fair and watches his grandkids show. And then within the hour, I think, or the next day at least, all fair's got to be done. Can't do that. Stay in your house with a mask on and don't live your life. Live in fear until November the 4th, would you? Now they're saying the end of the year. We're going to the end of the year. Christ, help us. I mean, there's so many subjects that are just spitting through my mind right now. The Confederate flag thing really bothered me the other day, and it's like this lady has no idea who or what I am. And of course, she had to have been stalking on my Facebook page because that's the only place I have a picture of me with the Confederate flag. It's not on my profile picture. It's not. It's in my pictures. Hey, you want to look at my Facebook profile? Go ahead. I got nothing to hide. I'm pretty transparent. Pretty much tell the truth. How I feel it anyway. But, I just can't see, but when Bubba Wallace got the Confederate flag banned from NASCAR. One guy gets a tradition that's been going on since NASCAR began because it was mostly a southern sport, They have races in the north, but it's nothing like a Talladega or Bristol, Darlington, those races in Homestead and all that. They're the big NASCAR races, Daytona. But, so this one guy said, there's a noose hanging in after, he gets the flags banned. Now there's a noose hanging. It's a pull rope, you idiot. Christ, anybody that's seen that had to have known. Now, even if his people told him, why would your people, I wouldn't have people like that. They're going to tell you, hey, Bubba, there's somebody put a noose in your garage. You got to make a big deal about it. And to be honest, before that, I didn't know who the hell Bubba Wallace was. I had no idea. It's just, it's this, his one pull because everybody's so afraid. That's the whole thing. They're afraid of the Black Lives Matter. For some reason. They're afraid of this Black Lives Matter. They're afraid of Antifa. I'm not afraid of them. And I'm not in the Klan. I'm not in Aryan Nation. I don't even know anybody that is. I mean, around here, I wouldn't know where to go to even find out about it. I have no desire to. But because, I'm a white 51-year-old man, I got to be racist. I wave a Confederate flag, I'm racist. Guess what? You don't know anything. You don't even take the time to figure it out. I got all these guys that they use the same arguments over and over and over again. That's why I got so sick of Facebook arguing with them. It's like, you're just trying to prove that you're right all the time. I'm just stating my opinion. And here you are trying to tell me how wrong my opinion is. No, my opinion's never going to be wrong to me. It's kind of like somebody said to me one time, they said, why do you always think you're right? And I said, well, because I believe in something. If I say that I think this is true, I believe it. He said, yeah, but you're not always right. I said, in my mind, I'm always right. Because if I believe something to be true, that's my opinion. If you got a good argument to change my mind, I'm open to listen. I've never not said, I'm not going to listen. I got a couple of buddies of mine that are libertarians, you know. Some of it I don't. I even took their advice. I went home and read that Jorgensen. I read a lot about her. Smart lady. She's got some good ideas. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, libertarians, this Democrats part two. Some stuff they are. Some stuff they're leaning toward the right. You know, it's like, okay, not a bad party. You know, it's pretty good. But then they get into some stuff. It's like, you know, I can't go with. You know, I'm more of a Republican thought process than I am a Democrat or a libertarian. But I don't call them, you know, say, hey, you know, everything you say is wrong. Now, if I call a liberal a libtard, I know I shouldn't use the language, but still, it's like they call us everything else. You know, they call us, I get called a supremacist and a racist. If I call them a libtard, I'm the worst person on earth. You know, or I call them a soy bitch. You know, I borrowed that from Salty Cracker on one of my favorites on YouTube. But, you know, for me to say anything, instantly I'm racist and intolerant. Instantly. I can't say anything as a white man in America without being an older white man. If I was in my 20s and I said the stuff I said, they would probably be like, oh, you know, he's okay. He's still trying to figure it out. Just like Antifa and all the, you know, they have their opinions. But if you're an older white guy like me, it's like, oh, he's got to be racist. He's intolerant. He's closed-minded. You know, he's a Trump. He's a Trump supporter, which is synonymous with racist, which is synonymous with supremacist, misogynist. I'm a Trump supporter because he's the best candidate. And he's done a good job, in my mind, for this country and for me over the past 4 years. And it doesn't, I mean, the little things even that I could mention, I don't even have to. Like the fact that he doesn't take a salary, that he does it for free, that he's lost money in his own business. Yeah, I could say all that. I mean, and I do, but it's like, it's not the end all be all. It ends up with the results you can give me. I think he's done a good job. And I think 4 more years of it, we would benefit greatly from 4 more years of it. If Biden wins, I don't know. I'm packing up probably. Because I know my 401k will be in the dumpster. Every policy they have is raising taxes on the middle class. I mean, if you're $75,000 a year, kind of like probably a ballpark of what I make, I'm not going to double my taxes. So somebody can sit at home and do nothing? I'm tired of this, man. I mean, 35 years I've been working. I was laid off for 6 months one time. That drove me nuts. 6 months out of my 35 years I've been not having a job. And I had to work for everything I got. Now you're going to tell me in one swoop, this guy wants to come in and make me redistribute my wealth and double my taxes? For what? I mean, we've been a capitalist. You know, we've had capitalism forever. It works. If you go out and work and work for your living and you make your money, you can have nice things. If you don't work as hard or can't get as good a job or you don't try or sit on your ass and do nothing, you get less in life. That's how it's supposed to be. There was a time when, you know, not too many years ago, 18 years ago, I was working for a temp agency 3 days a week, working 12-hour shifts, and the rest of the days I was driving pizzas around. Because I had to do what I had to do, you know, to make a living and support my family. I had I had children then, and small children, and even smaller. But people nowadays are like, oh, well, the government's going to take care of it. I mean, how Obama's whole thing was, you know, a lot of these people thought he's going to pay your mortgage off when he gets elected. Well, you got a cell phone and some shitty insurance. And, school lunches were wrecked. Let's eat some carrots and hummus or whatever. Hey, that's fine if you want to do that, but you shouldn't have to bow down to that from the First Lady of the United States. She got 20 people following her around and blah, blah, blah. I'm not even on the Obamas because, Hillary was in there too. But and you get into that point, and people really get pissed off on the left. It's like, Biden's been in politics for how long? Since 1973 or some shit. Crazy amount of years. Chuck Schumer's been in there forever. Pelosi's been in there forever. But Trump's the problem. Okay. 3.5 years he was in there. He fucked everything up. That was so, the stock market hit a low when we went in this corona bullshit. The lowest it got was still higher than Obama's ever got. And it's like, you're a Democrat. You were in that. Biden, you were there. You talk about the swine flu, how you reacted to the swine flu so great. Yeah, it was 60 million cases of it. I'm not even going to say that because, 12,000 deaths. I get it. Wasn't a very highly deadly disease. Coronavirus is deadlier than that. It's more contagious. But you say Trump did nothing. He didn't do anything. Well, when he did do something in January, oh, you're a racist xenophobe. Cutting off travel to China. Nancy Pelosi, oh, let's go out in Chinatown and have a good time. Everybody, de Blasio in New York, don't worry about, go out to dinner with your family. This coronavirus is nothing. Then he didn't do it fast enough. So make up your mind. Quit anything. Your hatred for Donald Trump is more important than your country to you. And I could have been that way with Obama. I didn't like any of his policies. And before you get on it, I try to beat into your head, not a racist, not a supremacist. I didn't give a shit if the man was white, black, purple. He was a Democrat with bad policies. Obamacare was a fucking joke. Everything they did, he was bowing down to foreign leaders. Gave money to Iran by the shit tons. Whatever. It's like he just wasn't a good president to me. Just like George W. Bush. He's a Republican. I voted for the guy. I thought he did horrible. And I was hopeful that Obama was going to pull us out of that. Because I thought George W. did a horrible job. I don't want the captain of the ship to wreck the ship. So if Biden wins, I'm not going to say, I hope you fail, you dirty son of a bitch, you pedophile, smelly, sleepy ass bastard. I'm going to say, I'm not going to be like these people tattooed "not my president" on my head when Trump won. I'm not going to like it. But I'm going to hope some bitch proves me wrong. That's what I want every time a president that I don't like gets elected. I want you to prove me wrong. And I'll be a man enough to say I prove wrong. Obama didn't do the job. George W. Bush didn't do the job. I voted for him. It's like, so I'm hoping Obama pulls this out. He didn't. So I was hoping, Cruz didn't get the nomination. Trump did. So I'm hoping Trump's going to pull us out of this thing. He was. Till the shitstorm known as 2020 hit. And at all cost, it's been get rid of Trump. Because you're so flabbergasted that he beat you in 2016 that you want him out. And it's no other reason than that you can't take the fact that a guy like Donald Trump, the arrogant, egotistical, Twitter-loving Donald Trump, beats your career politicians at the voting polls and has done more for the country in 3.5 years than you've done in your 51 years in there, Joe. Nancy, 33 years. I don't know how many years Joe's got in there, but whatever. Nancy Pelosi's got like 33 years. Schumer's got probably 50 years. Maxine Waters, that devil lady, she's got I don't know how many years in. It's funny because it's all New York California. New York and California do not run the country. And you found that out the hard way in 2016. Now you've tried your best to destroy everything we've had built up. Trump's building it back again, so what's your next move? Oh, the U.S. Postal Service. Okay, that's the next hoax you decide to pull. How long is that going to last before it's something else? I mean, we haven't had a mass shooting in a while. Is that going to be the next one? You know, try to get the guns back into control. Because it's always a distraction. When you're trying to do something underhanded, we have a mass shooting somewhere. You know, and the ones, it's funny because like when it happened to YouTube, I think it was YouTube headquarters, was a Muslim woman. You didn't hear shit about that. You heard like, oh, that's who it was that did it? No, we can't. We're not going to do that. Because it wasn't, you know, a white right-winger. It wasn't a right-wing guy. Can't use it for our agenda. So, anyway. Been rambling. It's my trial run. I'm going to call my show the 0 Hour, like I said. I'm going to get on and ramble about things. Probably do a couple more videos just for trial run. That's what I'm calling them. So, I want to get a podcast, but I got to get the equipment. I want to get a backdrop so you don't see this stuff. Because, you know, my mental health suffered this year. And it's because I've been keeping the stuff in. And people arguing with me and blah, blah, blah. And I don't mind being argued with. I like debating people. Doesn't bother me. But I'd rather do it here where I can't type something that's misconstrued as one thing. It's like a text when you send it and you put wow on there or something like that. And they get mad. Oh, why wow? Why, you know. You didn't mean it that way. You meant like wow, like laughing. They took it as like, wow, you know, sad. No, I didn't. I meant wow laughing, but I forgot to put the LOL or whatever. But anyway, I think this is a better format for me, but I don't want my mug on TV all the time. I feel like an idiot talking to this thing. So it'd be a lot easier to talk into a microphone. I'm used to microphones, you know. I've used music as my expression for years. But I'm getting older and stuff with the music too. And not everybody shares my political and religious and modern day views on things. I mean, there's 4 people in the band I'm in now, and 2 are one way and 2 are another way, and I'm probably different than the other 3 altogether. So I don't feel comfortable, you know, writing everything down that I write. I want to keep my music political free if I can. So I need the outlet for something else, and this is going to be it for me. I hope some of you enjoy watching it or listening to it, and a lot of you probably agree. Some, I wouldn't say majority, but some might agree with me. Some will call me a dumbass. Some will make fun of me. You know, like I said, 0 is the key word because I give 0 fucks. You know, I have 0 guilt about being who I am. I offer 0 apologies. It's the whole idea behind the name. I thought it was the best fitting for it. So, anyway, I will quit rambling. I'm going to go drink beer and relax and enjoy my weekend. I'll hopefully post another video when I get something more to say. I got plenty to say, but whenever I feel like saying it, I guess I'll pop on here. Won't always be an hour long, I promise, but I thought today was fitting to be an hour. It might be an hour every time. Who cares? Like I said, if I get 8 views on it, I'll be, that's fine. But I'm doing this more for me. But if you enjoy listening to it, that's great. If you don't, yeah, you probably stopped a long time ago. So either way. So remember the 0 Hour. I'm on Parler. I'm also on Facebook, of course, under my own name and Mosh and Mikey. And I'm on Twitter, Mosh and Mikey there. So have a great weekend. Everybody enjoy. Stay out of trouble.